Perfect. All right, awesome. Well, we've got several people on the call, so let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first official Women of Asphalt South Carolina meeting. We've been working on this for quite some time to launch this South Carolina branch, so we're super excited and we really appreciate the support of everyone on this call. So we're going to take you through who Women of Asphalt are, introduce ourselves, and open up discussion at the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive on in with the agenda. So we're going to, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about who we are. We're going to talk about the national board as well as the South Carolina branch. We'll talk about our mission, our goals, go into the story of Women of Asphalt. So there might be several of you on the call who are not national members, and this is the first time that you're hearing about Women of Asphalt. So we definitely want to go through that. And then we'll talk about what Women of Asphalt can do for you, our partnership with SCAPA, and then what we have coming up. And like I mentioned, we'll then end it with questions and any discussion. So first we'll introduce ourselves. I am Noelle Arena. I am located in Charlotte, North Carolina, but my territory is South Carolina and North Carolina. I work for FORDA, which formerly was known as Pacific Geosource. So some of you know me as Pacific Geosource, but recently we went through a merger, and so now I work for FORDA. I am the steering committee chair. I work alongside all these wonderful people that you see on the screen, who've been very instrumental in getting this up and going. So I'm going to go ahead and let them each introduce themselves so you guys know who we are. And then you'll hear a little bit more from each of us as we go through the presentation. So I'll hand it off to Keela.
Hi, everyone. I'm Keela Artis. I work with Palmetto Corp, and I am located in the Midlands area. Joined Women of Asphalt just because I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait for you guys to see all the fun things that we have for you in this presentation.
Right, go in order. If we go in order of picture, I'm Ashley Batson. I am with Ingevity, based in Charleston, South Carolina. I do government relations work with Ingevity, supporting our pavement technologies group. Very excited to be here today. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Susan Duke Snyder. I work for the South Carolina Department of Transportation and the asphalt materials lab testing supervisor role. I am super excited to be here and us have our own South Carolina chapter. I really can't wait to see all the great things we do, and I'm super excited that all of you guys have joined for our first meet and greet.
Hi, I'm Emily Holbert with Reeves Construction Company. I'm located out of our Duncan, South Carolina office, currently working in their estimating department. And this is very exciting to see this come to fruition, where, women can get together who work in the asphalt industry and support one another. Yeah, excited to see where this goes.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brigitta Laird. I work for Southeast Emulsions. I'm in sales. Currently out of Union, South Carolina, and Denton, North Carolina. Very excited to also be a part of this awesome group and see what we can do with this chapter. Thanks.
I'm Kimberly Lyons, also known as Kimmy. I'm at the DOT. Currently, I am the reclamation engineer for the state. I'm also very excited that this is kind of, came to be, and I'm happy to see so many beautiful faces on this call. And that includes you, Cliff and Jason.
That's a good segue. Just hello, everyone. I'm Jason Jordan. I'm the executive director of the South Carolina Asphalt Pavement Association. I'm absolutely thrilled to be on the call with you all today. I will be we're hosting. So if you got any questions or anything, you feel free to submit them in the chat. But yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of this today. So thank y'all for having us.
Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh.
There
The
you go.
awkward pause. Hey, everybody. It's great to see you all. Thank you for making the time for this today, and for special thanks to the steering committee for all the effort they've put in leading up to here. Today's date. I work with Jason and Cliff as the associate director of SCAPA. I'm like right at 1 month, which is really exciting. And looking forward to supporting this group on all of your endeavors. What a great day.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Like I mentioned, everybody on this in this group has been really instrumental. I'm just so pleased by the dedication that this group has brought to starting this branch. And so I think that we have a lot of really awesome ideas and some really cool things planned. So I'm definitely excited for all of you to be a part of it. Okay, so we're gonna continue through the presentation, and Emily's gonna talk a little bit about who the Women of Asphalt are.
Hi, yes. So I think the most important thing with Women of Asphalt is obviously we're a part of a national chapter of Women of Asphalt, and then each state has the opportunity to create its own branch within the state where we've decided to partner with SCAPA, which will be discussed a little bit later on in this presentation. But I think the true mission of Women of Asphalt is to connect women who work in the asphalt industry. And the bullet points here talking about mentoring opportunities, networking events that we can have just to connect people throughout the different companies within our industry. Really just an exchange of information, ideas, support, whatever that looks like for whatever the women involved in the organization and men are looking for through Women of Asphalt. This statistic is also mentioned later in the presentation, but only 10% of the total asphalt in industry, the participation in the industry is women, 10% of that. So it's definitely an opportunity to connect that 10% and beyond, and grow that percentage within the industry, as it is definitely an ever evolving, ever changing opportunity. And with that, the next slide is going to Ashley.
All right, thank you, Emily. Yes, so a little bit about the kind of the history, the background of Women of Asphalt. On this slide, you'll kind of see the National Women of Asphalt Board of Directors. And as of last week, unfortunately, the administrative director, Arpine, has moved on to another opportunity. So that position is currently vacant. We are going to be filling that role, within the coming months and weeks. But the current board is made up of ladies from all segments of the industry across the country. And I think Amy Miller, I guess if you move on to the next slide, if you don't mind. A little bit about the story is, I don't know if many of you probably know who Amy Miller is. She was the national director for the Asphalt Pavement Alliance, and now she is with the with ACAF, the Associate Contract. Come on, Jason. Contractors, the Asphalt Association of Florida, basically. It's a different acronym, ACAF. But anyway, in any event, Amy's been there just a little while now. And so back in 2017, she reached out to a few of us ladies in the industry and said, hey, why don't we start, an association for women in the asphalt industry? And so we got together and developed the mission and vision and those goals that Emily just showed you all. And truly, it is all about connecting and also really helping to grow the industry, really to show women that there are so many opportunities and a space for everyone. And really proud of the work that the association has done to date. I believe you can see the timeline. And from 2018 to 2020, several programs were developed, like the mentorship program, as well as the job board. And in 2020, the first state branch started in Indiana. And since then, you'll see later, we've got so many more branches that have started and are establishing, and even more to come that you'll hear about in the coming weeks and months. So, personally for me, it's just been so awesome to be a part of this network of women and men who are allies and supporters of this group. And really proud of the work that has been done at the national level. It's a very hands-on association, and that's what, if you're interested in being a part of it, if you have some time, it really is driven by the volunteers and by the members. And again, membership is free. So, for the national membership and your state branch membership, it is a free membership. So please encourage other people who are either women or supporters of women in the industry to consider joining both at the national level and at the state level in South Carolina. Great, thanks.
So I guess I'm next. This is just a sample of what Women of Asphalt is providing, free of charge, I would say, 99% of the time. But we have a lot of networking events where we try to either get together in person or have some kind of Teams or Zoom meeting to just have a get together so that we can communicate and network together outside of work and share stories and advice and things like that. We also have a Women of Asphalt job board that Ashley just mentioned, / a talent search. We also have a skill development, connecting women, a mentorship program, which is a very good program where they connect, women who have been in the industry longer with those new to the industry so that they can mentor them, give them advice, and etc. There's also a Lead and Inspire learning opportunities, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And then we also have educational podcasts, which I also will talk about on the next slide. So our national initiatives, we have podcasts, national events, and also something we call Conversations to Lead and Inspire. When it comes to the podcast, you can get that on your Google or your Apple underneath the podcast. The podcast name is Where We Belong. It's a podcast that is dedicated to women in the asphalt industry. You can listen as they discuss with women across the country and hear their stories about how they got into the business, their non-traditional roles that they've taken, any obstacles that they've had to overcome, and also how they're changing the face of the asphalt industry as a whole. Also, we have Conversations to Lead and Inspire. Each of these topics are carefully selected to meet the needs and requests from the Women of Asphalt industry as a whole. If you look down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there's a National Women of Asphalt Mentorship Program Roundtable on September the 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a Lead and Inspire Generations of Strength, a mother-daughter journey in the asphalt industry on October the 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we also, they're hosting a Women of Asphalt Conversations to Lead and Inspire, a trailblazing career in asphalt technology and advocacy on November the 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is just a little snippet of some of the things that the Women of Asphalt Nationals host. I would like to comment really quick. I'm not trying to put Ashley on the spot, but I am. If you go to episode 12 on our podcast, she actually is interviewing Secretary Hall. I remember when that was being done. It's a very, very good podcast, but it just goes to show you that it's not just women in other states we're going to have to listen to, which is awesome that we can share stories, but also, we've done things within South Carolina that a lot of people don't know that we've even done. So kudos to Ashley and Secretary Hall. I think that's a great, great podcast. And then also on the national events, Women of Asphalt hosts events at all kinds of conferences like World of Asphalt. They usually have a cocktail hour or some kind of get together social hour at that conference, as well as they usually host a booth. They also help other branches in other states get together and start as well to have lunch and learns and breakfasts. So all that can be found on the womenofasphalt.org/events. And I'm going to turn it over to Keela.
Hey everyone, so Kimmy talked about this a little bit, but we're going to go into a little more detail about the mentorship program. So as you can see here, one of the main initiatives that Women of Asphalt focuses on is really connecting women and promoting workforce opportunities. And their mentorship program is a great way to do that. You can see here that we have participation in 31 of 50 states, which I think is an incredible reach, especially for such a small niche within the industry, right? So we're really looking at providing access to professionals who can offer guidance and support to maybe those who have entered the industry at a later time or are just new to the industry in general. And it's meant to be a resource to encourage success. So a couple of caveats with the mentorship program: you do have to be a member of Women of Asphalt to join that program. Super easy sign up. If you just Google Women of Asphalt, it'll take you straight to their website and you can register there. And then typically registration for the program begins in the fall. So we're getting close to that time of year now. So if you're interested, make sure you stay up to date with our social media to get those announcements. The other initiative that we want to talk about is the job board opportunity. And I really like this one because this to me is seeing what Women of Asphalt wants to do in action, right? So this is a job board full of opportunities for women in the industry from across all of the states that we have chapters in. And it's for organizations that really want to promote diversity and get women into those leadership positions within their organizations. So there's no cost to you to use that. All you have to do is go to their website and go to job search, and it'll pull it up, and you can search for any opportunities that you're looking for. And then I think I'm passing it off to you, Jason. Or no, branches. So there were 21. South Carolina is 22. And then you can see here that the most recent branches added are Mississippi and Louisiana in addition to South Carolina. So we have a very broad reach within the industry, which just helps to promote all of those initiatives that nationals are getting us to participate in.
So Catherine and I are going to touch a little bit on SCAPA's partnership with Women of Asphalt National, and again, just to really start the branch here, which, as I mentioned, is the 22nd branch here in the country. You know, the great part about Women of Asphalt is that it helps recruit women to the asphalt industry. So taking a step back, if you've certainly have tuned in to anything, everything SCAPA for, you know, definitely the past 5 to 10 years, you've heard a lot from us in regards to a lot of our workforce challenges and what's going on in the industry. And, you know, I think the great part about Women of Asphalt is that you see that, you know, women are certainly less intimidated to enter a, you know, male dominated field just because of the connections that they're making through this process. You know, additionally, for a lot of our companies, you're seeing retention of the female employees. It improves through women feeling valued and invested in their company's support of Women of Asphalt. You know, and the great part is women are able to see other women succeed, and they're better able to visualize their future in the industry. They're able to see others raise families, still advance and succeed. So it's really, really super as far as that goes. And then, see, and Catherine, I think you're going to talk a little bit on diversity and some of the relationship building. Let's see.
Hey, everybody. Yes, so what we want to make sure as we progress as a chapter is that we're thoughtful in terms of all kinds of positions, having a seat at the table. We talked about women that are in the field and women that are in the office, a variety of levels of women represented, so that really we're as inclusive as possible, including men who are our advocates and champions, sponsors, all of those words. So that's important to us as we progress forward. And then from an association standpoint, certainly doing all we can to help you foster relationships, creating a meaningful peer and aspirational network among women. And then just to that last bullet point, many of the Women of Asphalt chapters have started or supported scholarship efforts, and we see that as a great opportunity for the South Carolina branch, in addition to maybe some of the other philanthropic ideas that you all may have, and we'll be happy to support that going forward. And I think that wraps up for my comments. I'll just say one more side note too, in addition to sharing and connecting you all with thought leaders and role models at the national level. We're hoping to highlight women here in South Carolina as well through our social and kind of digital networks. And so if you're interested in sharing your story, please ping me or Noelle. We'd love to be able to gather that story and share it as far as wide as we can. And I will toss the presentation back to Noelle.
Great, awesome, thank you. So hopefully that gives you guys just a general overview on who Women of Asphalt is and kind of, what our goals are for the South Carolina branch. A little bit, we're going to talk about what events are going to come forward. We've been, like I mentioned, been working very hard to, create this branch and get it going to where, we've got consistent events, either virtually or in person. So definitely excited to share that in a little bit. But at this time, we wanted to share some of our stories around why we are in the Women of Asphalt. Like you can tell from most of us talking about it, we're very passionate about it. And that comes from something, in our career or in our personal life that has led us in that direction. So I'll go ahead and get us started by talking about it. My passion and reason for wanting to be involved in the Women of Asphalt goes all the way back to the start of my career. So I actually didn't start my career in asphalt, which I think that's a pretty common theme for a lot of people that are mid-career in asphalt. So I went to college for forest management and actually started my career with a very large timber company. And first day, I met the team and I was the only woman. And then I found out that within the region, which was Mississippi and Louisiana, I was one of 3 women. And honestly, it was quite surprising to me because when I was in college, half of the forestry school were women. So it got me thinking, and I started questioning, why is this representation, not the same as what I was seeing in school? Why do we not have this representation in the industry? And very similar to construction, asphalt industry, forestry is, majority men. And so I learned very shortly after asking the question on why there was not a lot of women. It can be very isolating and lonely when you're the only, if you're the only woman or you're the only person of color. And so when you see that, it can be discouraging for others to join that industry or to join that group or to make that leap to, I went to Mississippi, didn't know anything about Mississippi. So because of this, I started trying to find connections outside of the workforce. I couldn't get that connection on the job or in the office. And so I found myself joining every forestry women group that I could find. And that's really where I was able to build my confidence and find those mentors. I found coaches. I found other individuals who could help me in my position, help me better understand and become better at my job. And so these kind of groups have become very important to me because of that. I almost left the forestry industry because of how I felt. And thankfully, I had that connection with those women organizations to be able to find those individuals that helped me along the way and made me feel more confident. So this group, we've mentioned it many times before, but the Women of Asphalt, the benefits are endless, and the opportunities are vast. So that's my story. With that, I think I'm going to pass it on to Keela. Keela, you told me a story the other day that really resonated with me, if you want to share with the group.
Sure. So my story is definitely a feel-good story. A lot of times women in the industry hold positions where it's difficult to get in the field, and if you're lucky enough to get out in the field, you get to have these really neat experiences with your communities. And I was in the upstate with my HR manager, and we were at one of our projects up there. And I remember we were stopped at an intersection, and we were standing there chatting about, some social media stuff that I was doing, and a car pulls up to the flagger, and in the back seat is a little girl. And she looks out of the window at us, and I notice her, and I kind of nudge my HR manager, Shelby, and I'm like, hey, she's, kind of checking us out. And the mom rolls down the window and she goes, I think it's so neat that you guys are in construction. And I looked at Shelby and she looked at me, and we just had smiles beaming across our faces, right? Because to be that inspiration and to be able to give that little girl, the idea of maybe, hey, I can be in that industry. I can do that job. I see someone like me, right? And that was a neat opportunity for me. I'm not sure who I'm passing off to next. Noelle.
So I think Emily, you
Sorry.
a story the other day that was kind of similar to Keela's, if you want to share.
Yeah, and I think I'll add as well that I kind of have an interesting story with my own background. I actually went to college at an all-women's university at the time. So I went from being surrounded by women to when I started actually beginning at Reeves was my first job right out of college. And that's sort of where my story starts. Is I used to be our marketing manager here at Reeves, and I was supported by my own cohorts here at Reeves to be given the opportunity to actually rotate out in the field, where I'm now a project engineer and working in estimating. So it wasn't until I fully rotated out into the field that I understood that when I would look around, I was the only female. And for the longest time, they were trying to pair me with somebody within the industry that could give that support, give that guidance, and give that mentorship. And lucky enough, I work for a big enough organization where we have that, but there are a lot of other companies that are not that large scale that don't have those connection points. So rotating out into the field and definitely looking on a job site and knowing I am the only woman here, I'm the only woman running equipment, and different things like that, that definitely broadened my horizon. But actually, when I rotated out in the field, I have a similar story to Keela. I was at an employee event, and this little girl, her dad is actually a project manager out on the job site, and he told her, he was like, Emily does what I do. She's out in the field. She helps us put projects together. And she looked at me and asked if I operate, what did she say? She's like 4, but she said, do you ride in the thing with the big shovel on it? And I think she was talking about an excavator. And I said, yeah, I have driven one of those. And she was like, that is so cool. And so it was in that moment that she was able to look at her dad, who I'm sure she looks up to, and then see that that myself, I do the same work as her dad does. And somebody asked in the chat, I just saw it pop up, asked if I went to Columbia College. I actually went to Converse College, which I know Columbia and Converse have kind of went through the same thing, where they're actually a co-ed institution now. But so it was Converse College when I went, and now it's Converse University. So I figured that popped up, and I would just answer that while I was talking. But all in all, just really needing an opportunity to find those connection points through something like Women of Asphalt, and then also being able to show that women can succeed and will succeed in this industry.
Both those stories are just wonderful. I just they're definitely heartwarming stories, and love to hear it, especially when we can reach that younger audience and encourage them to come into the industry. I'll open it up now. If anybody else has any stories, and it could be anyone on the call. You don't have to be a part of the committee if you have a story or if you want to reflect on one of the stories that were just mentioned. Okay, that's all right. I think that we will be having a lot of these conversations in the future. Definitely looking forward to it. Also, one thing that we all mentioned was connecting with others. So just want to mention again our mentorship program. I'm involved in the mentorship program as a mentee, and my mentor is actually, she was on the call, but she had to jump off. But she's over in Texas, and so I just love it. You know, she's not in South Carolina, she's not in the branch, but I've been able to connect with her, and she's in a different part of the asphalt industry completely. And so getting to learn from her on that, but then also, you know, she's on the, you know, she's here to support me no matter, you know, whatever the endeavors are, even though this is a South Carolina call and she's in Texas. So just, you know, so many great opportunities within the organization to connect with each other, to support each other. And have to once again mention the men allies too. You know, Jason has just been so, like, from the beginning, a super supporter of this, and just we really appreciate it. And then there's several men on the call too who've also really supported us. So definitely thanks to everyone for that. Okay, so next I'm gonna pass this off to Brigetta, and she's gonna talk about some of the things that we have coming forward.
Hey, everybody. Yes, so first things first, the QR code there at the bottom left is very awesome. It'll take you to a link tree with all of this info. You can actually join with the little link there. So if you want to take a quick second, scan that, it'll bring you right to all of these events that we're having. So first things first, would love for you to join National and then also the South Carolina branch. And you can do that. There's a little link right there, or you can just also Google Women of Asphalt. It'll take you right to it. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of those buttons are also on that link tree. And we've got a happy hour. If you are planning to come to the Scapa Fall dinner in November, we've got a happy hour that we're going to be doing from 5 to 6 p.m. Right before the dinner. So that's a great opportunity to come and network and meet everybody and kind of kick off our first in-person meeting. And then we'll also be at Scapa Winter Conference in February. So again, that QR code will bring you right to all of the info. And if you have any questions, we've got Noelle and Catherine's email here. So feel free to reach out to them.
All right, and then as Brigetta mentioned, you know, we would love for you guys to join. And I just really quickly want to take you through that so that you can see how that works. I can exit out of this.
Noelle, while you pull that up, may I quick touch on one other event that's kind of, so as I think Kimmy mentioned, National typically through the World of Asphalt and at ConAg, depending on the year, has a big, you know, networking event and a booth and everything. But next year at World of Asphalt, so 2024 up in Nashville, is going to be the first National Women of Asphalt Day. And it's going to be included with your registration to World of Asphalt. And it's a day of education and networking and all kinds of other events. So it's a different type of event. It's kind of we're taking it up a notch, doing a big National Women of Asphalt full day as part of the World of Asphalt. So take a look on National's website and save the date. And if you're going to be at World of Asphalt, make sure you join some of the Women of Asphalt events. Thanks.
Perfect. Any other things before we continue on? I think, Kimmy, do you want to bring up CPUG?
Yeah, I can talk about CPUG. November the 14th through 16th, we're going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is the Southeastern Users Producers Group. Women of Asphalt is hosting a breakfast for the first time ever. We're actually taking the place of Asphalt Institute. And they're getting their director to actually over the Department of Transportation. She's a female, and she's actually coming to speak to the group. So I think that's a really big opportunity. So if anybody on this call is going to see Pug, please sign up to come to the breakfast. I think it's a great opportunity. We're going to get to hear her story. And then we're also going to network, which is a big thing about Women of Asphalt, for the remainder of the, I think it's 60 minutes. So the first 20, we're going to have a presentation. The last 40, we're just going to have breakfast and network together. So I think it's a great opportunity, but it's going to be on November the 14th at 8 a.m. in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Perfect. All right. So just briefly, I want to take you guys through how to sign up for the Women of Asphalt. If you are a SCAPA member and you have that website, that's probably the easiest way for you to do it. Otherwise, Keela mentioned, you can just Google Women of Asphalt. It will pop up instantly. So very easy to find. But if you are on the SCAPA website, if you go, there's actually a section under membership where we have Women of Asphalt South Carolina. And, over time, we'll add more to this page as well. And so this is a good, point of reference if you want to be more involved. So, it has our mission statement and our vision and our goals, but here you can see where it says join today. And there's actually a video of instructions on how to join. When you do click that join today, it will take you to, where you can log in. If you already are a national member, you can just go ahead and sign in. If you're a new user, just put your email in, free to register. They don't do a lot of spamming of emails either, so you're not going to receive a bunch of junk all the time. They really just send out information on events and if there's a new podcast or whatever coming up. So go ahead and sign up, and whenever you do that, make sure that you click, there's a box that you can check. Make sure you check that South Carolina branch. And you can actually join more than one branch if you want. So if you want news from South Carolina and Florida, you can check both those boxes. Before we started a South Carolina branch, I got news from Florida because that was part of my territory at the time. So very simple to do, just go ahead and click on that link, sign up, get involved. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. This is the best way to stay informed on what is going on locally. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to this, to our presentation. We're going to, at this time, take questions, suggestions, next steps. And I see there's a lot in the chat, and I have not looked at it yet. So we can go through that really quick and just see what we've got going on. But feel free to just unmute yourself as well if you have anything. Okay, so Fabricio left a comment. A lot of information there, so if you want to look at the chat, process of rebuilding the asphalt research program and our lab. So take a look at that. Question about, sorry, I'm just going through this now.
Noelle, while you're scanning that, I just wanted to just give a second shout out. I think we have 4 new members that have joined just in the past couple minutes. So just wanted to say welcome to you all. So you should have a auto reply in your email as well. And we're just, let us know how we can help you anyway. And we look forward to meeting you in person soon.
Yes, I see Danielle said she just joined. That's awesome. Thank you. And also Catherine did include the link for the link tree too. So if you, which let me just go back to that slide too, so that we have that information, that QR code up there. So that's a little bit more productive. Oops, there it is. So yeah, if you want to use that QR code, or you can use that link that's in the chat. Danielle had a question. Does the national board drive all events and initiatives for local chapters, or does the local chapters elect a BOD as well? Great question. So the national board is as supportive as we want them to be, essentially. They have lots of great suggestions. Many of the branches do follow, you know, those suggestions. A lot of branches have common events, but they also all have very, very different events as well. And so pretty much every branch, not pretty much, but all branches do operate independently from the national board, but have that support of the national board. We do check-ins every single month, share best practices, challenges, successes, and then throughout the nation, those local branches are supported by their SAPA. So the Asphalt Pavement Association for each state is the supporting, and usually not always, but the financial supporter as well. So as South Carolina, as a new branch, we're still kind of figuring some of that out, exactly how that's going to work. I think we have a pretty good structure in place, and as you can see with Jason and Catherine on the call, SCAPA is extremely supportive of us, and so we're super grateful for that. Ashley, did you want to mention anything else? Did I cover that question pretty well, or do you want to say anything else on that? Okay. And Danielle, hopefully I answered your question too.
Well, I think she had a question about, is the local chapter electing a board as well?
Oh, yes, the board. Okay. Yeah, so like I mentioned, we're still kind of figuring that out. So our currently the team that you've heard from today is our steering committee, who potentially will end up being official officers. We haven't quite figured out the leadership yet, but right now we're all just kind of tackling this to begin with. Like I mentioned, every single person in this committee has been extremely dedicated and done a lot of work to get to where we are. And so I anticipate that our leadership will continue on the way that you see it, but we are planning on having elections at some point later in the year to officially elect chair, vice chair, exactly however that structure is going to look. We're not sure yet at this point. So still kind of working through that. I know that's kind of a roundabout way of answering that question. Okay, any other questions from the group? Okay, well, if there's not any other questions, does anyone on the committee have anything else that they want to discuss, bring up?
I would just encourage everyone to, please sign up for the networking event in the fall and bring a friend or a few friends. I think trying to really create a lot of interest and education of what this group is going to do. And so I think that will be helpful. That first event will be a great way to really get folks engaged. And then we can tee up a great event for the winter conference in February.
Yep, absolutely. If you're going to the fall member dinner, if you've already got that planned, just come an hour early and come to our happy hour too. That event will be sponsored by SCAPA, the Women of Asphalt. So we welcome you to join. Okay. Well, with that, Fabricio, did you have a question, comment? See your hand raised.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to pretty much let you know that Clemson is going to be hosting what is called Industry Day in October. It's going to be the 27th. I already shared that information with SCAPA, And we'll hope to see some of your companies here. If you need us to send you an invitation, a formal invitation of what it is, and for the different companies, it will be great to have some representation from you guys directly or from your companies. That's going to be again on the October 27th, and as Noel, as you mentioned, we see that the majority of companies and people representing those companies are mostly males, and we would like to see that going in a different direction. Our chair in our department, she's very into inclusivity, all the inclusion, equality, and all that good stuff. And we would like to see you here. If you are around in this area, if you can join us. Well, if you need us to share some of the information of Women of Asphalt, we can also do that. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mauricio.
Jason, could you all send that to our, if you have some information to this list of people, that'd be great.
Yep, sure thing. Yeah, Fabricio was kind enough to share that the other day, and we distributed it to the board, and I'll make sure to send it out to this group as well.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Any last thoughts before we end the call? Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We definitely appreciate the support. Like I said, we are done a lot to get this to the point that it is. And so the more support that we get, I think the more successful that we will be. If anyone is, on this call and just really interested to become involved, please reach out to us. We'd love to have, anyone who's interested in helping. And don't forget to join. Like I said, membership is free. And so that's the best way to get the information. Okay, thank you so much to the committee, and thank you for everyone that has joined. Everyone have a good day.